This is my presentation on the called Big Spirit presentation, where I was working as a mobile app developer. So here's some information about Scratch Coding for Kids, which is the organization I was working on. It is a tutoring academy where I code education to children. It was founded in 2021 with just 5 students, but now today it is going to over 300 active students. And in 2022, they established the Kids for Kids Toronto Coding Hub, a registered nonprofit organization. So the location I was working is remote, so I was working from home most of the time. But one of their Scarborough offices is at this address here at Finch, 4168 Finch Avenue East. So here are some of the responsibilities and duties that I had as a junior software developer. My responsibilities were building and maintaining backend API endpoints. That's where like you store databases, passwords, pretty sensitive information using Node.js and Express. We integrate front end with the backend using Red Query for data fetching. We implement using authentication via super-base auth, but previously we were using Clerk. And we collaborated with teammates through Git and GitHub. And I also made a research documents for deployment for iOS, Android, and backend hosting. We're using EAS for the front deployment and Render for the backend deployments. Over here are the tools and technologies that I've been using. VS Code is the primary code that I've been using. Expo Go is for testing the app on a physical device, like my phone. Postman is for testing the backend, the API endpoints. Superbase is where all the database is stored, all the passwords, all user information. And Git and GitHub is for version control and team collaboration. Git is like for pushing local changes on my local computer, whereas GitHub is the actual public website to show all those commits that I made, all those changes that I made for the entire team.
Yeah, it's actually a server, and Git is your
Yes,
whole
sir.
local machine, right? So in
Yes, that's
server,
right.
you shared your code and then you can pull or push it. Perfect.
Yes, that's
Really
right.
great. Yeah, go ahead.
Uh, so here are some options that I have. The first one is about the admin dashboard. This fetches data from the database from the backend, which is Superbase. Here's the registration form showing the student information. And I have another section showing the program selection. These programs are fetched directly from the database as well. And also the app login page here. This uses Superbase auth to set up user information login page. And next, I also have some additional work evidence. This is my commit history. These new updates are basically like workday done after each new workday. Here's a code drop from VS Code showing the admin controller. And this is the research document I made for front-end deployment to app stores. So, next is health and safety. There aren't a lot of health and safety things that you could consider for an online placement, but there are some few things that you can consider as well. The first is ergonomic strain, which is like prolonged sitting and poor posture. It goes back and neck pain if you're sitting for too long. So usually I take regular breaks just like whenever I feel tired or I feel that I can't really like sit still for too long. Then there's also eye strain, which is the same issue. Like staring at a screen for too long can cause like your eyes to strain. So you can look at your laptop taking breaks, and you can return when you're ready to continue. For example, the 20-20-20 rule, which is that every 20 minutes, you should 20 feet away for 20 seconds. There's also data security, which is the risk of exposed sensitive credentials, such as API keys and database passwords. And to prevent this, we stored all the sensitive data in private .m files connected to GitHub. .m files are basically like private files that are stored on my local computer only, that are never pushed to GitHub, so never made public. Only I can see them, nobody else can. And also mental health. Remote work can sometimes blur personal and work boundaries. So, but for this placement, I'm able to set a personal schedule for myself, which I usually set as like 12 to 4 p.m., but the time can change depending on the situation. I'm also able to communicate things that block me to my mentor and set them for most of the time. There's no personal protective equipment required because it's a remote place done at home.
Yes,
Now,
you're right.
here's an internal challenge that I had, which is double increment bug in the registration system. The challenge was that the registration form was incremented by two instead of one. So, for example, you create one submission for registration, but it would actually create two. It would actually count as two different registrations. This means that stops with twice as fast as intended, breaking a core feature of the app. So, I investigated cause and I found that there was two incremental methods. Database trigger, which was on Superbase, and also the registry with capacity function, which is over here on this image. These both increment current count every submission. So, the way we solved this was I discussed with my mentor, who confirmed that the incrementation should be removed from the function. There's a comment over here at the top that talks about like how the change was made. So I tested it again after removal, and that basically fixed the issue, and that's incrementation were only increasing by two, but now increases by one. So this is the leadership I've for for this placement. I independently identified and fixed bugs in other code students' code. I caught the misplaced React import in admin.js, which is broken and error handling interface, and incorrect query path for admin students. Sometimes I'll ask my mentor for the bugs to see if I can change some bugs on other students' placement, other students' code. But sometimes if it was like blocking progress for myself, even, I would just do without being asked, saying what the issue was and how to fix it. Leadership culture at S4K is mostly mentor-led. We have one meetings every Monday, but it's also collaborative as well. So it's not just me doing the work. I'm also able to discuss with my mentor and also to see what other students doing as well. And this placement had highly expressed the importance of self-learning initiative and work with often my own schedule, as mentioned before. Open communication with all active courage. There's this message here during a conversation with my mentor based on one of the books that I found earlier. So here's another decision that I made, which is choosing an authentication approach. When implementing role-based access control, there are three possible approaches to evaluate. So the first one was corporate predictions, org admin. This required enabling organizations and risk-breaking system users. And the custom key SC4K admin will not support organizations, but you can also store rules in ingesting web token metadata, which is basically how the user sees how the system sees recognizing each user based on a digital password. So it's like the open source since it was the easiest to set up. We stored a role and user ID directly in the JWT token. So every time someone was creating an account, those two roles and a user ID would be stored inside their token as they log in. The result was that I'm putting fully protected and functional, and the reason was documented in a code comment in auth.js for future reference. Here's a change. This was the original version in red, and this is updated code in green. And over here, I have the comment this documented change strategy. I mentioned that each user has the role and look user ID over here, as you can see. Now, here are some transferable skills that I had. The first was problem solving. So I debugged issues across the front and back end. And most of the time with independence, sometimes I would message my mentor saying that I found this issue, how should I work through it? The next is communication. I'll frequently up to mentor and supervisor to bridge logs and message when blocked. There was teamwork, of course, which we're reviewing, which is collaborating with other co-op student on a shared code base, reviewing and building on each other's work. Adaptability, which is just a major project including the font system migration. Previously we used the clerk, and now we're using Superbase Auth, so I had to adapt to that to review all the changes from that code. And then also independent research. I investigated deployment options, auth approaches, and created Word documents for direct guidance, and also time management. During this placement, I also had George Brown College coursework for a dual credit program, and I was able to balance it really well. And over here, I have the assignments for the George Brown dual credits. Ended a while back, so I don't have to worry about it now, but it was also a good opportunity to learn about more computer science outside of this placement. And here are some of the most major accomplishments I had during this placement. Of course, I built a full-stack mobile web searching app from scratch, including the backend API, front screen and user authentication. I successfully debugged and resolved the double bug in the registration system. I identified and fixed multiple bugs in TMS code, improving overall accessibility. I completed a professional deployment document for the team, which included step-by-step setup guides and sources to official documentation. I implemented an authentication flow, which was the JSON Web Token, over 2 weeks of debugging and research. I also implemented a full front test suite covering form validation and data transformation across all the major screens. So here are the test suites that display all 8 tests I wrote successfully over here. So there's 2 tests in total, but the 7 files or test suites that I have. And here are the best bits for display suites. The first one was the first live data on the dashboard. Very early in the place, I was seeing placeholder that have holder values, so they weren't actually part of the real Serbase backend. But after weeks of building the backend and while the front end, you find out some real data counts that could be updated live based on what I changed and what data I added to base instead of just fixed placeholder values. This was the first major milestone in this placement. I also saw the double increment bug, which was tracking down while software running twice as fast. It felt like a real debug win. And also shared the exact cause and solution with my mentor in messages and code comments, and that person demonstrated for me a strong independent thinking process. I also had automation work at 2 weeks of debugging commission total setup. I finally seen the admin data load was extremely satisfying for me. And there was also the deployment documents. It was different from coding, but it was equally rewarding, showing my independent research and information that I could share with the team. Now,
I
here's how
just
this punch.
I
Oh,
wanted to say
sorry.
a few things. No, no, you are good. You are good. But
Okay.
I want to ask you, like, do you have any previous knowledge of coding or this kind of work you did it earlier?
Um, so yes, I did. I actually went to coding school for Python before,
Okay,
about two years ago.
okay.
So I do have some previous knowledge. But
No,
for
no,
mobile
no,
app
not
development,
knowledge. Actually, you know
oh,
what you have done was really amazing,
oh,
Jaden,
thank you.
because just knowledge is like just making a small Python program, right? But as you
Yes.
mentioned, you did a full stack. You know, you did backend part, front end part. You are doing APIs, Superbase database, GitHub. This is not a simple thing. So I really amazed. So that's why I'm asking, did you do any project like this earlier? Like I know like around more than 75% you guys self-learned, right? Because once a week only you met our mentor. So I
Yes, that's
know how
correct.
much your involvement and your work, right? Self-learning work. So that's why I asked you, like, did you do these kind of projects earlier or this is the first time?
Coding wise, noticing my first time, but for building an app itself, this is probably like the first big project that I've done. It's
Great.
definitely big, and I feel like it's gonna be a big part for my future in college, so or university, depending on where I go.
Sure.
Okay. So, from post-secondary and future plans, this placement basically confirmed interest in pursuing software development, specifically full stack and mobile development, and I gained real experience with industry standard tools such as Git, Express, React Native, and Supabase, and this can directly apply to my post-secondary computer science studies. And it worked on a real code-base with a team, giving me much more realistic picture of personal development than classic project alone. The deployment research introduced new post-development concepts, such as bring app files with release or deployments. This is something worth exploring further in future studies. And also collaborate with mentor and other co-students, highlight the importance of communication and documentation in professional environments. Over here, I have updated session as part of my resume, and this documents the code experience. Basically maintaining the API endpoints connect to a Postgres SQL database using GitHub and connect to the deployment base for EAS. Now, my overall opinion for
One
this
second.
placement.
1 second. So can you go back? Yeah. So in your resume, so the right ways you can share your GitHub link. Okay.
Oh yes,
So
okay.
that will give more like a value addition for your resume, because when they go there, download and see, so your project is really working and they can understand the value, right? Also, grade 11 and grade 12 students can apply for RBC, the RBC bank. They are doing some like help to the school students every summer, the 2 months of summer holidays, they can work in RBC. So, but it's a very big competition because so many people apply for that one. So you are in grade 11 now, right?
Uh, I'm in grade 11, but next year I'm going to go into grade 12.
Yeah, correct. So now for this year, you missed it because you had to apply in March, March, April season. So next year, you can apply in March, April. Then you had to go to work during July, August. So during they will pay also, like they are not a big payment, but just they pay for you guys and giving like an internship. So it will be like there's big chance for you to get in, because if you provide this GitHub link and you spoke about this much, there's a chance to get in. So if you want, like, try next year, I will, after this presentation, I will send you the link, like how to apply and all those things, their website where they are getting. Okay?
Okay, okay, thank you.
Perfect. Go ahead.
So here's my final opinion on this placement. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. So, and I'll explain why later. Just some small problems I have with this placement. It's not like serious problems, but it's like small issues that I think could be improved. So I had genuine full-time deployment experience on real projects, and this was actually something I've been thinking of doing it for a long time, specifically mobile app development. My mentor was supportive, was collaborative, and I also had like an independent work style. And this placement was really flexible. It balanced with school, other responsibilities such as dual credit at George Brown. For improvements, I would say like as remote placements, you can't really get like things done immediately. You can't really get like messages done immediately. You have to wait for a bit. For example, the credentials or teammates code, I have to wait for that for quite a bit, especially early in the placements. And also for remote placements, sometimes it might like store communication due to other responsibilities for the team. But overall, I would recommend this placement for other students, especially for those who are interested in software development, because the hands-on experience for building a real app from scratch so that you'll never experience in a classroom setting. And that's everything for my presentation. Thank you.
Okay. Meanwhile, call, like, so you have the test cases and what you have done with this project, right? Are you going to present it now or after Jaden finish the presentation?
Well, I've told you I'm on Chrome OS right now and I'm in school because this is, I mean, I had 15 minutes to prepare for this, so I didn't really, I mean,
Oh,
if you have any verbal questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But again, I'm on Chrome. I can't run the server for the app. I say server, I can't run Expo natively here. So, I
okay,
mean,
okay.
if you
So
have verbal questions,
your test cases are in the server?
no, they're not. They're in a branch. But again, I can't download. They've got this thing locked down. I can't really.
Okay,
I
no.
can't demonstrate anything in the actual app, is what I'm saying. But if you have verbal questions about what I've done, I can
Okay.
answer that.
So, did you automate the test cases or it's manually you are running it? How can you
But
explain about how you did that one?
well, you just run npm run test in the console, and it'll do it for you. That's how Jest works.
So, one sample test case, can you explain me like how did you like test it, or what are the areas you tested?
Well, I tested the search function in all the the student teacher and programmers pages. There's a search function. I tested that. Well, I built test cases for that. I built test cases for, I believe it was the login page, is what, no, it was the sign up page. There are some credentials, some classifications that an account has to meet. And so it verifies that all of those tests are working properly. So, like, for example, you can't create an account with less than 6 characters and a password because Supabase auth mandates that a password have at least 6 characters. And finally, I built a network test that just verifies that, fetching is working properly. You know,
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah. So like basically sign up to the account as an admin, and then how to search for students, right? And then how to register a student, those kind of things, and some network issues like if the internet connection goes in the middle, what will happen, something like that.
I suppose that's pretty close.
Okay. And thank you, Vishnu, for sharing the architecture document and the README document. So from those things, I'll just draw it. If anything is not right, please correct me, okay? So the components involved is from the front end, we are going to have a mobile app. In future, we can download that from the App Store or Google Play. So I will like say front end of mobile app. So this is basically going to have something sign up for the admin user. Then after they sign up, they can sign in and do the student registration, search for students and those things. But how it works behind the scene, you guys are going to have a database. It's a Postgres database, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so Postgres DB in the backend. So here you guys already save different tables like I'm not sure about all the tables name, but there are tables and data there. Or in future we can add the data for that tables. So basically they are going to talk through the API, isn't it? Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. So the front end is going to send the request, and based on the request, the database is going to send the response to the front end. So sometimes it's a writing request, so it will say successful message. Sometimes it has to retrieve some data from there, like search, so it will send the relevant data. So I will mark this as request, and it's going to send the response. Right. So this request and response are handled through the API. I believe the API is RESTful API, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. So you guys develop your own APIs, and you guys integrated that one through your front-end code, right? Right. So this is the high level idea, very high level. I don't know, I don't say that your work is this simple, but it's a very high level, but there are so many things involved inside. So now, in the front end side, the languages you guys used is React, right?
React Native.
Yeah.
React.js. And anything else you guys used it?
We use express.js for the backend, I believe.
No, front end
Backend.
development. Anything else other than the React.js?
No, only Expo, but that was for like seeing the app.
Yeah, simulator or something, right?
simulating.
The simulator is
Expo Go.
yeah. So the simulator Expo, isn't it? Right.
Yes.
And other than that, of course, you guys use the GitHub and the Git client for to have and also the Git. So this is to work as a team. So like to have a centralized place to have code, and anyone can, not anyone, like whoever in your team can check in, check out the code, or like can go and clone it or whatever, right? Perfect. Then in the backend side, so the database you are using is Postgres. And what else you guys are using? Hello?
Oh.
Other than the Postgres database, what else you guys use for the backend?
It was I personally I was using Postgres, Supabase, and Postman for testing for me personally. Because I
Okay.
said that on the presentation, I mentioned that.
Okay. So third one, I couldn't hear you properly. Superbase,
Yes.
Postgres, and one more you said. What is that, darling?
Postman for testing.
For the API testing. Okay.
Oh, API,
So for
yes.
the API testing, Postman. Okay. See, how can I write it? Okay. Postman to test the APIs you develop, right?
Yes, that's
Okay.
right.
Perfect. Very good. Very good. So this is very high level idea of it, right? Right. So anything else am I missing here?
I don't believe so. There
Okay.
may be,
In a high level, it's good, right?
yes, that's right.